randomizer seeds. So this time around, it is the bot's pick. GFE vetoed Keysanity, Pikapals vetoed Uncle Assured Swords, which is a little bit less meaningful here in inverted mode, which they'll be playing. We are off and underway with two separate starts for these two. Pikapals heading over towards Skull Woods, while GFE going for this tree pull here that nets him full magic, nothing all that interesting. And it looks like GFE is going to head over to check up on everyone's friend Stumpy, see what he can get from there before he decides to change up and go anywhere else to begin with. And we get an instant Ice Rod, which is a pretty nice start, just because you know you're not going to be looking for it for a long time.
Yeah, that removes one troll item from the equation.
And GFE has saved and quit, heading over toward the Skullwoods play himself, while Pikapals heads into the back here. That room with the two Gibdos and the switch is a royal pain when you do not have a weapon.
Yeah, and they haven't even grabbed bombs yet.
It'll be a little bit easier on GFE if he chooses to go back there, because he's got that Ice Rod. He can just freeze the Gibdos and move on nice and easily instead of having to deal with them.
Yeah, it's kind of funny which enemies are vulnerable to, actually be killed by the Ice Rod. It seems like something about undead enemies, for instance, because Gibdos and Stalfos both fall into that category.
I do enjoy that he used the frozen Gibdo to kill the Bari that survived his initial attack. Pikapal is now making use of these two guaranteed bomb drops in the Ring of Pots there to make sure that he can get to Hype Cave once he's done here. We did get a heart container in one of the chests in here, but that is the only item that we have seen so far.
Still a nice item to get starting out. Getting through the Dark World with 3 hearts is tough. You want to get any health you can.
Now, Pika heading down to Village of Outcasts here. Gonna check the C-shaped house and any other stuff in the area. The brewery, as well as the, if you can get 30 rupees, chess game. We could see our first map check. Swamp and Ice Palace were crystals 5 and 6. I believe I will verify as we see the map check again. Pod was a pendant, and everything else in the Dark World was a crystal. So our Light World is going to consist of 2 pendants and 1 regular crystal when we get there. We'll see which one it may be.
Oh, and Pikapals gets his first sword there. In the first chest in Thieves' Town.
That's a real nice find early on in Inverted, where you got to deal with potentially a very early blind fight. And
see if there's... Oh, go ahead. You were going to say the same thing.
Say, oh, 2 sets of bombs, 5 rupees, not very hype, and then all of a sudden, a hammer.
Which is also the only non-blue item.
That's true. That's a pretty nice, it's a pretty nice quirk. If you're gonna give one thing that's not the same color as everything else, you know, why not have it be a hammer with a bunch of junk? That is a moon pearl over in the bombable hut, so they just need a glove and they'll be able to access the light world.
And it's always a relief to find the moon pearl in an easy location like that, because in Inverted there are a lot of seeds where the logic wants you to beat Aga 1, who, by the way, in an Inverted seed is where Ganon's tower would be in normal mode, and then the places in the light world where you can pick up the moon pearl.
Very true, and Pikapals made use of the archery game, which seems kind of daunting when you first, you know, play Inverted and need some money. And then you realize that if you just stand right next to the guy like he did and fire your arrow as the little target moves past the first set of curtains, you hit every time and the hands never get in your way. It's actually very easy to do consistently. So GFE grabbing his sword from Thieves Town as Pikapals comes down here to check on our dear friend Stumpy. So he'll be getting his ice rod soon.
And then he'll probably continue to Hype Cave and get his hammer as well.
Quick stop in Link's house, and then down here he goes. We'll see if GFE decides to go deeper in Thieves Town. With that hammer, he doesn't have to worry about missing out on the big chest. So I expect he'll probably just go on and try to complete it. Also, shoutouts to the fact that when GFE was doing Hype Cave, Pikapals was opening that last chest in Thieves Town that had bombs. And then when Pikapals was doing Hype Cave, GFE was opening that last chest in Thieves Town that had bombs.
The symmetry gods are kind tonight.
We are getting some pretty big divergence here. GFE with that hammer heading to the back of Thieves Town. Pikapals heading up to the pyramid, probably going to be heading over to Pod afterwards.
Right, he has neither the glove nor the hook shot, so Pod is the only other place he could go in this direction.
It's just a piece of heart on the pyramid, and we find out that the left side of Mire does have the big key. So when they get there, they can hope that it's not the cutscene chest with the big key. Nobody really cares about the small keys in Mire, so it doesn't matter if that's locked by the cutscene, but if you gotta go through it for the big key, then it's just a little bit disappointing.
And there's also weird logic about the compass chest and the vanilla big key chest. I think that if the big key is in one of them, there must be a small key in the other.
It's actually the opposite. If the small key is in one of those two chests, then the big key has to be on the left side, but the big key can be over there without a small key on the left side.
That makes my head hurt.
There are some complicated situations where you can key lock with the rupee room in the basement, and it just makes sure that nothing bad can happen.
And I just noticed that Pikapals only barely had enough rupees to pay Kiki's extortionist rate, but he did get in.
Yep, now he just has to hope that it's not bow-locked immediately, which it's not. GFE realizing, wait, I don't have gloves, I can't lift that block.
Yeah, it's a rarity, but fortunately, doing Thieves' Town without gloves doesn't actually block you from anything.
Yep, the dungeon item is the level 2 gloves, and not only is there nothing locked by level 2 gloves in the dungeon, it's actually fully completable with 0 items.
But if you don't have the hammer, you can't get the big chest.
Very true, and with that big 20 in the maiden cell and the lack of a small key, they don't have to worry about the big chest anyway, because they can't get to it. Now Pika moving through pod, going through the chests that tend to be predominantly keys, and we're about to see a nice little blind fight here on GFE's side.
And Pika has to head for the back because not only does he not have the bow for the bow-locked side, he doesn't have a bottle to do the bottle trick on the bow-locked side. And GFE makes...
Near perfect. That is crystal number 1. And, 11, almost 12 minutes in. That ain't bad.
There's the glove. So, we now have Light World access. Oh, and GFE finds the mushroom, so fetch quest time when we get to the Light World.
Yep, and Pikapals didn't have the money for that chess game when he was over there. We can hope that if it's got anything important on that mushroom, that he doesn't forget he didn't get it done.
I did not see what Pika got in the dark.
Yeah, I didn't see anything pop up, so I'm not sure if it was just pallet block stuff. I believe he got some rupees, though. Pika now headed through the dark maze, which is always a fun and exciting time when you've got low health and no lamp.
Okay, that was clearly a piece of heart. I could see that.
GFE over here taking some time to farm the arrow game a little bit, get more than just the 80 rupees he needed for the digging game. He also got more than enough to go to pod afterwards.
And on top of that, he'll probably come out and ahead in the digging game, so he'll have rupees to spare for other things.
Okay, so the dark room did not have the big key, which is one of the things that doesn't show up in the dark. So the big key is on the right side of pod. There was no access to it there, but we got the important thing that opens up a ton of progression opportunity.
Yeah, so Pika's gonna go through the portal to the Light World and probably do all the standard Overworld Sphere 1 check.
Interesting quirk, if you cut the grass where the portal from the Dark World is in the Light World, a portal back to the Dark World spawns.
I did not know that.
Yep, it was learned that apparently you can hide portals under grass, because they just kind of covered up with grass thinking that the portal wouldn't appear, and then, hey, portal still shows up like the rock that was over it.
And we see Pikapals taking advantage of one of the changes in inverted mode, where anything in the light world that would normally require the mirror to access, you can now just walk into because you can't mirror to the light world.
Yep, Inverted, which was released with V30, the current version of the randomizer, has a combination of basic game change of starting in the dark world, mirroring from light to the dark, needing the moon pearl for the light world, alongside various changes to both open the world up a little bit more early, as well as to give you a little bit of easier access to stuff. Instead of just moving those caves to the dark world, they adjusted to how the topography was around them. Yeah, you should go talk to VTorp and them and thank them. And I don't know how he just caught that man without the boots. I'm impressed.
Maybe he came from slightly underneath, so it didn't trigger the guy to run away in time?
That could be. It's definitely the first time I've seen someone pull that off, though. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't intentional. And hey, we get a vanilla bottle.
With a fairy to boot.
Good old normal mode, which has been a little bit less common on these bot-decided matches, where you can actually have fairies in a bottle, which is a pleasant little bonus.
And the bottle was used to extort Sick Kid out of his piggy bank.
And the well got 20 rupees so far, the worst boomerang.
Mirror and powder, wow. So
Then
we can now
another
do
bottle.
magic. We can now do Magic Bat as well while we're here in Kakariko.
Yep, they can also take care of the blacksmith chain by mirroring inside the little circle of rocks around the blacksmith, and then just walking back through the portal to go to the light world and bring them home.
Oh, and by the way, in case any of you don't believe Mentos Man's comment about the red boomerang being the worst boomerang, it's official in the hints. The blue boomerang is referred to as the best boomerang in the hints.
It's very true. The power of not causing absurd amounts of lag. So GFE will be getting his glove here soon. He just has to get through to the room in the back here, and he will find it. Pikapals, having wrapped up the main Kakariko checks, looks like he is going to go finish up Thieves Town while he's in the area.
Oh, where did you pick up the book? I think I missed that.
I definitely missed where it was. It must have been in Kakariko somewhere.
So another thing about Inverted, if Desert Palace is required, which it is since this is an all-dungeon seed, the book is absolutely required because it's the only way into Desert.
Oh, that's possible. It was probably the dark room item that we couldn't see that GFE just got. Nope, no it's not. But it is Pod Maze dark room, I guess, is what chat is saying. So worth noting as well, that mirror being in Kakariko is great for these two, because the mirror is extremely powerful in inverted mode.
Ooh,
it lets you get a
takes
ton
a
of
death. Good thing he had that fairy.
Yep, bottle vendor bails him out. The Dark World dungeons do a lot of damage when you're sitting on low health. Now, I mean, 6 is what you're expected to have when you first enter the Dark World, if you didn't pick up the Sanctuary chest. But, you know, Thieves Town is supposed to be the 4th dungeon here, so you're supposed to have an additional 4 hearts by this point, kind of. GFE coming real close to a death on the Overworld there. But he makes it through alive. It's going to go open up the portal back here. And the hammerlock's still in place on the portal. Just, you know, after going through the portal instead of before, as it is in normal modes.
And he gives us a map check. Green pendant in Eastern, blue pendant in Hera, and regular crystal.
It's a little bit rare to see runners do early map checks as GFE has in all dungeons, but it's useful on the commentary side to know where stuff may be.
And they're in the Lost Woods. They could have done a ped check while they were here.
And I think they really should have done a ped check, because I believe we saw a hint earlier saying that there was a unique item in the Lost Woods. And we just saw a green rupee and a 10 arrow drop, neither of which are unique items. So that pedestal might actually have something important.
Unfortunately, GFE's just running out of there as well. Going to give us a lumberjack check, though.
I'm guessing GFE probably doesn't realize he has the book. So for those not familiar with the V30 hint system, a unique item could just mean that the single arrow is on pedestal. But it could also mean that, well, any of those items that we don't have, yeah, they could all be there, and they could all be required, so we know it can't be the bow because Pod and Eastern are pendants, but that's really the only limiting factor with this layout.
And for Ped to be in logic, they need to get the lamp as well, so the lamp can't be on Ped.
True, I tend to forget that the lamp exists because it never shows up on time. So GFE came over here, climbed the ladder to the graveyard ledge, got himself a little bit of money out of it. Probably going to drop into the back of Escape now and then head through that to Sanctuary to check that chest.
So what does the bat have today? Not much.
He curses you with the power of small amounts of money. Back of Escape, also pretty garbage.
And there wasn't a key there, so if GFD wants to check the chest in the dark, he'll have to go through the front.
In the meantime, he's following around through the regular exit of the Escape to go check this chest, which is another big 20. Yay.
And Pikapals finding Master Sword and Hammer Pegs, and also demonstrating why there are very few things that the Titan's Mitts are required for in Inverted, because a lot of places like here you can just mirror over from the Light World.
Yep, at this point, if they find the hookshot, the Titan's Mitts will become relegated to only being useful for opening King's Tomb.
But I guess Pika's gonna take the purple chest on a bit of a world tour.
And it seems like GFE now realizes he has the book because he's heading back this way, which there's really no point to unless you're going to check Pedestal.
And I think Pika's might be doing the same.
He's in his first trip into Lost Woods. I'm guessing he'll go up there and check. And we have the boots!
That is a unique item, all right.
So that hint was our guaranteed boots hint, and it's pretty much a slap in the face, especially if the bow is late. Man, I now have this evil idea in my mind of the fact that the big key to GT could be on the torch with the bow in GT. So you have to go into GT, get the bow, come out, clear Pod and Eastern, and then pull the boots just to get the big key at the very end.
Only if Desert isn't boots locked.
Very true. We'll wait till we eventually see Desert to know how long those boots can delay them.
GFE clearing out the treasure trove that is Kakariko Well.
Now Pikapals kind of running over these checks on the North Light World that GFE just did, and GFE running through the Kakariko checks that Pikapals just did, so everyone gets to do the stuff the other already knows. Could take a moment to go over the settings real quick for this race while we are kind of retracing steps. It is pretty straightforward. It is an all dungeon seed, so we got to get all 3 pendants anyway, as alongside all 7 crystals. But we also have to clear Aghanim 1, even though he wasn't required for Light World access, we still got to kill him anyway. It is inverted, which is why we started in the Dark World, why the Moon Pearl was needed for the Light World. These swords are randomized, so Uncle is going to have a random item. And, of course, this is on normal difficulty, so it's pretty much the basic inverted mode style.
And since Aga was not required, other than being required by virtue of it being an all-dungeon seed, the runners will probably put off Aga Tower until right before fighting Ganon. Or, sorry, right before doing Ganon's tower, because fighting Aga will drop you off at the entrance to GT, since GT is where Aga Tower used to be, and Aga Tower is where GT used to be. I hope I said that all right.
Yeah, it seemed correct to me. So Pikapal is going to be entering the Light World to bring Purple Chest back to Gary, and then either going over to Desert or heading over toward the South Shore, one of the two.
Probably checking Bombos while he's over here. Assuming he remembers he has the book.
Yeah, it'd be a very solid play to make to check that. Also worth noting that Pikapals did not go into that chess game in Village of Outcasts when he was back over there with the mirror. So, again, hopefully he did not forget that he didn't get the chess game his first time through. That is a super, super late comment on that situation. But I just kind of had a click in my head that he did not actually do that while he was over there again.
And Pikapals does remember he has the book, and again, with inverted mode, you can just walk right up to Bombos.
Kill a vulture and receive the prize of 10 arrows you can't hold. At least those arrows probably get made use of somehow, you know. Link's gotta stay warm at night, he probably makes some fires with them. Next on the list here is Agina's Cave, which has
Fire Rod.
Fire.
Sorry for cutting you off.
No, that's all good.
So that now makes Skull Woods full clearable.
Yep, and depending on the boots lock status of Desert, it might be full clearable as well.
And there's the Flute and Checkerboard Cave.
Yeah, not ever required in, well, can be required in Inverted, but not always required, as it would be in all dungeons normal seed, but nice for world movement regardless.
Now, the thing about Flute and Inverted is you have to activate it in the normal spot in Kakariko, but then you can only use it to call the duck in the Dark World. But that also puts Death Mountain in logic, because otherwise you need the lamp for it to be in logic if you don't have the flute.
Yep, they wouldn't have a whole lot they could do on Death Mountain just yet without either the hookshot or the Titan's mitts, but they could get some stuff at the very least. Okay, and that's a small key in the first chest of Desert. We are not boots locked yet. If we don't get the big key over here, then, you know, we might have some good stuff going. If we do get the big key, then we have the potential for that horror scenario of Bo and GT for the boots to get the big key out the torch, and that'll be no fun. But no big key. The big key is on the torch, which means that the boots are 100% required. And we'll be seeing them before GT, which means that when they go into GT, it will be to complete the seed. There will be no double dips today.
And GFE is now taking more or less the same route, getting his flute. He'll probably find out shortly that Desert Palace's boots locked as well.
And we find out that the lamp is on the floating island, so as soon as they get up to Death Mountain east side in the light world, they'll be able to pick that up.
That also means that either the Titan's Mitts or the hookshot is not dark locked.
Both runners mirroring over to check the Meyer shed, getting $5 and a piece of heart for their trouble.
That was really quick. Did you see what medallion Meyer was? Our tracker's telling us it's ether.
Yeah, I was gonna say that appeared to be ether. So Pikapals going back to the light world here. Probably gonna go do the mini Moldorm Cave and Ice Rod Cave, get those knocked out.
Oh yeah, chat pointing out that since the book was in the dark, technically you couldn't get into Desert Palace by logic without the lamp to read that hint about the lamp.
Oh, good old V30 hint system. Always helpful. Now the hint system is getting pretty drastically overhauled for V31. More time is being spent on it. It hasn't settled into a final form. So there's no guarantee that we'll never get those silly, you already know this hints ever again. But I enjoy them when we get them as it stands. Yeah, Kane O'Brien and a shield.
And 2 heart.
Defense Cave.
Well, we still haven't seen any armor upgrades, so it's nice to get more hearts like that.
And it is worth noting that the water walk glitch, despite Moon Pearl being flipped in terms of what world it works in, is going to work the same way. If he chooses to fake flipper up to Zora, he'll still be able to get the water walk out of the waterfall ferry.
Oh, and since we were discussing chests that were accessible on Death Mountain with their current inventory, the blue cane just put Spike Cave in logic.
Everyone's favorite cave.
So, to address chat, the bow can't be in GT because Desert Palace is boots locked, the boots are on pedestal, and Pod and Eastern are both pendants, which require the bow.
GFE trying to make the early swamp play, and then realizing, wait a second, I don't have flippers. I think he was actually going to check that hint in there, but because he had already pulled the dam to... Yep, that's exactly it. Because he had pulled the dam just to get the item out of the water, it was all flooded inside, and he wasn't even looking to notice that it was water-filled.
And all that for a troll hint.
Listen, you never know when you're going to need to know that the Dongos are not fans of smoke.
And Pikapals is taking the old man on his very long route home through multiple worlds.
Gotta love the old man being, so the same inside and out that he just doesn't change form between worlds.
And there are flippers. So, in terms of that Swamp Palace play, they first have to get access to the top of Death Mountain before they can get into Swamp.
Yep, and here in Inverted, you don't actually need the mirror to get to Spectacle Rock. You need the access to East Death Mountain, so either Titan's Mitt or Hookshot, as well as the hammer. So until they have that Light World East Death Mountain access, those are just going to be kind of hanging out up there.
But we do have Dark Death Mountain access, so they can get the... Well, they don't have the hook shot, so... Basically the two chests in Super Bunny Cave, and Pika wasn't even bothering with that. Oh no, he's going back to Death Mountain now.
Yeah, just didn't want to walk out of Spectacle Rock Cave, although with the bomb jump it would have been a little bit quicker to just go back and mirror over. That said, we did get the lovely hint that some cash is in the western wing of Swamp Palace, so we don't have to do left side swamp, and it's also down to effectively 4 items in the dungeon, which changes its value a bit.
GFE checking the very out-of-the-way hint tile. I don't even know what you call that area. Dark Ice Rod Cave?
That's the practical name for it. It did gather a little bit of a nickname during the entrance shuffle tournament last year of the Dark World Shopping Mall, but it's effectively just the Dark Ice Rod Cave.
Oh, and there's the bow. Okay, and the... Wow! That's the most amazing Super Bunny Cave I've seen in a long time.
Now, worth noting, Pikapals did not check pedestals, so he doesn't know that boots are there, When GFE sees that, that entirely allows him to clear Pod, Eastern, and Tower of Hera. So he'll probably be beelining those dungeons once he gets to Super Bunny Cave to get that pair of boots immediately. And we get the hookshot from the hobo. So logically, you had to go up Death Mountain to Super Bunny Cave, get the mitts out of there, use the mitts to go over to get the flippers off of Spectacle Rock, and then use the flippers to go get the hookshot.
And then if there's anything important in Hookshot Cave, you are expected to go back up to Death Mountain to go in there.
Logic is oh so friendly today.
Fortunately, no tile room to do. Well, there could still be an item in past tile room. We don't know.
We find out the ice rod is held by someone friendly. Huh, I wonder who that could be. And the waterfall fairy kind enough to fill GFE's bottle with a bee.
See, in stagnant water like that, you should be glad she didn't give you a mosquito.
I don't know, I feel like it would be kind of fun to release the terror of a bottle full of mosquitoes on Ganon. There was a unique item requires the Cane of Samaria hint in Tower of Hera. Now, there are only 5 locations in the game that count as requiring Samaria outside of GT. That is Vitreous, the 3 chests outside of the first large room in T-Rock, and Trinex. And then you got the right side of GT that it could also be, but if it's a unique item that's important, we'll be finding it on one of those 5 spots.
And the reason for that is because in inverted mode, we can jump right down to the ledge in the light world and mirror and walk into Laser Bridge. Pikapals taking a bit of a troll dorm fall there.
Good old Moldorm, everyone's favorite giant worm, but he loves to be a jerk.
And he will take either 3 spin slashes with the Master Sword or 3 hammer strikes, and Pikapals is going the Master Sword spin slash route.
And GFE walking down from the Catfish Zora area, he's likely going to go fill up that bottle and turn in the mushroom.
Pikapals finally gets the enraged Troll Dorm.
And rewarded with his plate of nachos.
Well, the mushroom was useful. Let's hope Pikapals remembers that he never did do chest game.
Yeah, that's a pretty massive item. That gives you the ability to full clear T-Rock with the hookshot. We just need Meyer for, or Ether for Meyer. But T-Rock is now fully completable, as it stands. And hey, silver arrows over on Pikapal's side off of the Ether tablet.
And yeah, we are now Ether away from no mode.
And I am very concerned by the fact that Mushroom is important for Pikapal's sake, because honestly, I'm not sure if he's ever going to make the point of going back there, or if maybe he just assumed he had... Oh, hey, Ether. So 45-minute no mode. Might be a while before either of them hit go mode, but honestly, chances are GFE makes up the Death Mountain before Pika gets back to chess game.
So the question is, since GFE knows where the boots are, does he count as go mode once he gets his bow?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
And flippers.
Also, real quick answer to a question in chat. Pikapals is sitting at 9-4 currently, while GFE is at 8-5. Both of them have 2 races remaining. So the winner of this, if GFE can win this race, they'll be tied at 9-5 for second. If he loses, he will be at 8-6 and will be eliminated from the bracket contention.
And additionally, Bonta, who is also 9-4 in their group, is at this very moment playing another race that is not being restreamed. So by the time this evening is over, either Bonta will be 10-4 or 9-5, and we'll know more about the standings there.
Now Pika finishing up Paradox Cave, gonna bomb jump over here. So, key spots for Pikapals. He needs to get to the chess game eventually to get the mushroom, turn that in for his Cane of Samaria. He needs to get to the hobo for the hook shot, and he needs to get to the chest in the secret passage for the ether medallion. Now, GFE, and also pick up the boots from pedestal later. Now, GFE is going to need to go to Death Mountain and get Goma.
Which basically just means go to Super Bunny Cave.
Yeah, pretty much. So, I can't imagine him putting off Death Mountain all that much longer. So we'll probably be seeing him go up there, maybe even after this castle play.
That raises the interesting question, though. Will he check Ether Medallion because, hey, he's in the area anyway? Ether Tablet, sorry. And get his silvers, or is he going to wind up playing this game silver?
That is a pretty good question, actually. If I were running this seed, I would be inclined to check it just because I'm still looking for Tempered Sword anyway. Tempered Sword or silvers, but you could also make an argument for just kind of skipping it, going full-on go mode, and assuming you'll run into a sword somewhere. GFE heading up through the forest over here. Gonna go, it seems, over to the area of Kakariko, so probably about to activate his flute.
And now he has a much easier route up Death Mountain.
Yeah, but I believe Pikapals is trying to bomb jump this gap here. I don't know if that one's actually possible. I don't believe it is.
Oh, right, he doesn't have either the hookshot or the Cane of Samaria.
Yep, and won't be finding either of them up here. Now, GFE has finished activating his flute, is going to go over to check the shovel, and then we'll see where he goes.
And what do you know, Flute Boy's piggy bank contains exactly what Sick Kid's piggy bank contains.
I feel like there's some kind of conspiracy going on between their parents. Okay, well, GFE went to the right place, and then he left and went to the wrong place, so he's going to be putting off his own go mode just by not checking those locations while he's there. Oh, he didn't see the Mire medallion to begin with. That is a good call to go check right now, because it's going to give him very important info.
And good thing that he didn't feel tempted to go into Mire, because now he can just go mode Mire when he gets there.
Yep, and sometimes, well, we got the hint that told us where the big key was as well. So it's not even like a go mode Mire where you have to search for the big key. You know exactly where to get it.
Unfortunately, we know that short of like a sword upgrade or maybe an armor upgrade, Pikapals isn't going to find anything useful here in Turtle Rock.
Yep, and with big key and small key on Laser Bridge, GFE will be able to go mode Turtle Rock and do it very, very quickly. All that does depend on his routing through Death Mountain. He could jump into T-Rock before checking Super Bunny and Hookshot Cave, and that would just be sad.
Now, since he has the hook shot, he'll probably just go directly across to East Death Mountain in the Light World, so he can do the Paradox Cave check on the way.
Yep, and chances are he'll be checking Super Bunny and Hookshot Cave via the mirror. It'll depend if he's going to mirror up over here, or if he's going to mirror over at the east side of Death Mountain, and then kind of just do everything over there after Paradox Cave. He does, however, need to make sure that he doesn't mess up this bomb jump to make sure he sees the flippers sitting on top of Spectacle Rock.
Well, they came on screen when he came out of the portal with the old man, actually, so hopefully he noticed back then.
That could be, and he did miss the bomb jump. He was actually way far over into the wall to the right, so if he hadn't bumped down too far, he was gonna be knocked into the hole anyway. But either way, it doesn't really matter. He now just walks over here, hook shots across, and will go on his course toward go mode. Pikapals making a dip into Eastern Palace, which we know he won't be able to clear, but he'll be able to get all the items out of here, which, you know, it could have something useful.
Why won't he be able to clear it?
Oh wait, never mind. He's the one who has the bow already. I'm dumb.
Right. Finds Bombos, not that opening Turtle Rock from the top is necessary in this game. But yeah, Pikapals has everything he needs to get the 3 pendants and therefore get the boots off pedestal. He just can't finish Turtle Rock or Swamp. Or Mine.
Yep, and Pikapals didn't check the pedestal, so he's gonna clear Pod while he's here as well. But whether he's gonna beeline to the pedestal afterwards or not is a question that could be relevant. GFE likely disappointed with how bad Paradox Cave was, but he'll soon be getting, you know, the best Super Bunny Cave he's ever gotten. Oh hey, Pikapal's got a 3rd sword.
Okay, something to be said for full clearing Eastern Palace.
The Cane of Samaria requires the mushroom. Now, that's a good hint for Pikapals, except for the fact that he doesn't know where the mushroom is. See if he gets the bow. If he did notice the flippers over there on Spectacle Rock, he should now be slowly coming to the realization that at 55 minutes in, he is in go mode. It can be a little bit off-putting to actually find everything you need this early, to the point where you don't even necessarily recognize it. And, you know, he's going to Hookshot Cave, assuming that he knows the flippers. This is not a matter of, you know, necessarily just looking for a sword. It's just you don't expect to be in go mode at this point.
Well, that also gives some hope that he'll check Ether Tablet and get the silvers.
Very true, which would be a nice boon for him. Hookshot Cave coming up, about as empty as you would expect, given everything else. The quick stutter step and look at his menu. I think he's putting it together a little bit.
Momentarily confused, it looks like.
Gonna do Spiral Cave. I don't know, I think he's trying to figure out exactly what's going on here.
I think he jumped off the ledge before he quite realized that that wasn't what he wanted to do. And now, since he's fallen off the ledge anyway, he figures, okay, might as well do Spiral.
Yeah, pretty much.
And is rewarded with the best boomerang.
Pikapals trying to mirror over to get to Pod, but he is way too high up on that staircase there, so he got pushed back. It is the anti-cheese mechanics that you can't mirror into Pod. Now, ideally, GFE saw the flippers, will head over and grab those. But if he didn't, then he might be... yeah, he's jumping into the laser bridge door here. So either he's going to go mode this, find the big key and the small key on laser bridge and go straight to Trinex, or he'll full clear when he doesn't need to. This will tell us quite a bit about how much GFE recognizes the situation he's in. Big key, another small key. He walks through this door and he is heading to Trinex. So he could still go back into the dungeon afterwards, but this is a good sign for him saying, wait, I'm up here, I need to get this done.
Beating Trinex will also get him a free ride back to the top of the mountain, because even though he entered through Laser Bridge, beating Trinex exits you on top of Turtle Rock.
Very true, and to respond to a quick comment in chat here, he could recognize he's in go mode and still be gear hunting. GFE has his tournament life on the line in this race, and he's got everything he needs to beat the game. Whether he gets got what he wants to beat the game or not, he has what he needs. He cannot afford to full clear dungeons he is able to go mode in a race where his future in the tournament is at stake. It's not something you can do.
Very nice job on the Firehead, but having a bit more trouble with the Ice Head here.
Yep, and to add to the doesn't he need flippers in chat, he also needs boots, but he also knows where those are on pedestal. So yeah, every item that he needs that he doesn't have, he knows where it's at, and doesn't have to worry about searching for.
Simultaneous boss fights, always fun.
Very nice phase 2 of Trinex for GFE there.
And very quick work on Helmasaur for Pikapals.
And so, Pikapals gets his third dependent as GFE gets his second crystal. And we will likely be seeing him walk over to Hera. He does need to get back to the light world, though. GFE, where are you going, buddy?
He just realized he can't get to the light world that way.
Yep, he could get to the light world, just not the part of the light world he needs to get to. So, going back here, gonna hop up the tail of the turtle, pop through the portal, and then hammer down one of the Metroid pegs, and move onward. Pikapal's going for the hammer yump to find 10 arrows in the big chest. Probably not what he was looking for. What?
Ooh, so GFE is not bothering with Ether Tablet. Maybe he will when he comes out, but I'd hate to see him do a Master Sword Silverless Ganon when the silvers were so close by.
Yeah, chances are he'll get that third sword by the time he gets to Ganon, but yeah, he is just straight go moding, and I'm not gonna lie, I am jealous of the fact that he just got go mode with every dungeon except for Thieves Town entirely untouched. Because that is just absurd and something straight out of, like, V18.
Not entirely untouched. He went into Desert to find out that it was boots locked.
Oh, that's true. He did dip into Desert. And Pikapals having gotten the hint about the unique item in the Lost Woods and knowing that there is, you know, the two items that were there were not unique items, is probably headed to go grab Pedestal? No. No, he's pulled out his flute. So he's going to go activate the flute and then maybe go pull Pedestal. Unfortunately, the item that he needs, well, one of the items that he needs is right next to him, just a little bit to the left in a different world, and I don't think he's going to remember it anytime soon. Yep, walking straight north. That's about the 4th time he's been in that area with the mirror and hasn't gone to the chess game. So at this point, I think it's pretty safe to say that he just has it mentally checked off as done. And that's a very easy one to do that with in Inverted. I've done it myself multiple times before.
Oh, this is interesting. GFE's routing in Agate Tower now.
Yep, he doesn't want to ever have to climb Death Mountain again, so he's minimizing the time he has to spend doing that by just taking care of this while he's up here. Meanwhile, Pikapals blind pulls the boots and is probably sitting there like, really, why game?
And one nice thing about Inverted is from the entrance to Ped, you can mirror and be at the back of Skullwood so you don't have to actually go through.
Yep, and especially having cleared the front half already earlier, that's kind of nice to not have to do all that backtracking. But he left? Oh, he doesn't have a small key. He needs to go pick one up from here. So let's see. Pikapals needs to do two things. One is remember the chess game, and two is go talk to the hobo. Or no, he needs to do three things. Remember the chess game, go talk to the hobo, and go visit Uncle. And having a rough time in this room here. Pikapals add one heart going into the Mothula fight, which is not at all where you want to be.
And almost no magic, too.
Just gotta play it safe. Moth is annoying, but very well done to get through that untouched.
Oh, and we didn't even ask the audience for their guesses of how many blue balls Aga's gonna throw today. What's your guess?
I'm gonna go crazy and say 15 because the seed is too nice. How about you?
I don't think it's gonna be super nice, but I'll go with like 4.
So slightly above that safe average guess.
And meanwhile, Pikapals did an incredible job with Mothula coming in there with 1 heart.
Yep, and he's gonna go ahead and clear out Desert. They already got both items out of here, but this is a chance for him to think, if nothing else.
Is that 3 blue balls already?
That was the 3 blue ball phase 1. We're on pace for that 15. Well, there's your 4.
Okay, maybe this seed is as cruel as you were saying.
6 for 6 so far. Oh, yes.
The 15 dream is alive.
Pikapals grabs his big key, heads down here to Lambo, likely doing Desert as a way to think more than anything. That's 7 so far.
And remember, Pikapals is going to have to face the same number of blue balls because it's part of the seed.
Okay, we are through 3 phases with all blue balls. This is actually cruel.
Commentator's curse, it's your fault.
I will fully accept responsibility if it ends up at 15.
Okay.
Oh, actual attack.
And for all that, it's only 9. Only.
Just a scant 9 blue balls. I mean, you're so happy to see 9. So now... Okay, I was gonna say, I'm expecting GFE to go do Pod and Eastern next, because that'll allow him to go grab his boots, clear out Skull Woods in much the same fashion that Pikapals did, and go through the rest of the seed, moving just a little bit faster.
And then, like Pikapals, he can take advantage of being up at pedestal to finish off Skull.
Yep, and it is worth noting that Pikapals does have a dungeon lead right now. He's up Pod and Eastern, as well as Desert Palace now, and Skullwoods. He has a very large dungeon lead, but GFE is in go mode. Pikapals has 3 scattered items, one of which he's unlikely to find anytime soon. 2 of which he might find reasonably quickly, but could keep him even farther from the one that's going to be hard to find.
Oh, right. I believe the Tempered Sword was before the big key in Eastern, so GFE should get it while he's looking for the big key.
Believe you're correct, unless we just both missed it and it was actually somewhere entirely different. Oh, it's Sasrala's closet, which is somewhere that GFE is not going to go.
Oh, I guess we both missed that then.
I definitely thought there was that heart piece chest there.
So depending on how this all plays out, Pikapals could, you know, make up a couple of minutes at the end of the day. Oh, and there he's getting his hook shot even. Because there's a big difference between Master Sword Silverless Ganon and Tempered Silver Ganon.
It's definitely not ideal for him, and Pikapals with that hookshot save and quit to his house. I'm guessing this is going to be the swamp play. You know, the 2 items on the left side you know are useless, but there's still 4 other items in there. And GFE checking that hint tile, I'm guessing in the interest of maybe seeing something about something sharp being somewhere.
Or even silver.
You know when he gets to Ganon and it says Phase 3, Ganon's gonna say, or going into Phase 4, Ganon's gonna say, "Did you find the silver arrows in Death Mountain?" And GFE is gonna be like, "I left 1 location on Death Mountain."
Well, Dark Death Mountain counts as Death Mountain too, right? So, as far as he knows, it could be Spike Cave once he sees that hit.
No, Dark Death Mountain is a separate region in the game, so Death Mountain, I think he didn't check Mimic Cave, so it'll actually be 2 locations he left behind. Just the Mimic Cave or the Ether Tablet, and he'll know that it's in one of those 2. And just be very disappointed.
So what does Ganon say if the silvers... I guess there are only 7 Dark Death Mountain checks? 4 in Hookshot Cave, 2 in Super Bunny Cave, and then Spike Cave. So does Ganon specifically say Dark Death Mountain in that cave?
It is all based off of the regions and the spoilers, essentially. So for those locations, he would just say in Dark World. Effectively, for each of the different... If you go into a spoiler log on a seed, then all of those different region settings for Light World, each dungeon, the Dark World, those will be the different places that can fit Ganon's hint. Missing the quick kill on Armos a little bit, but a very nice fight regardless. Gets his green pendant, and we'll head over to Pod next.
Since he has to go this way for Kiki, and now has the green pendant, I wonder if he will check Sahasrara. Looks like it.
Yeah, it's looking like he is going to, so he will get that Tempered Sword, and that makes it a little bit tougher for Pikapals to try to catch up on this one.
Yeah, now his lack of silver arrows only means that he'll take about 45-50 seconds longer to beat Ganon than Pikapals will, so that's not much time to make up.
Yeah, he can now kind of go moding these dungeons a little bit less concernedly. Having some issues with Kiki there because he is still in iframe, or no, he already got Kiki.
Oh right, we forgot, and he forgot that he's already opened Pod.
Yep, and I was gonna say I thought it was the what's it called? The iframes that prevent Kiki from following you. No, it's just that he already paid the monkey. Monkey's not that greedy. Pikapals, knowing that the left side is garbage in Swamp, comes back for the big chest, which is also garbage. GFE low on arrows, so was taking the time to kill that guy with the sword. Depending on how things go by the end of this dungeon, he might go to Ice Palace soon and try to pick up a capacity upgrade before going in for the sake of filling up his arrows.
Not that he has any shortage of cash, but do capacity upgrades still cost 100 rupees like they do in the vanilla game?
Yeah, now they've been moved back to Lake Hylia, they cost 100 rupees in easy mode. They do actually cost more in the higher difficulties, but they do cost just the 100. They give you the +5 capacity and fill you up to capacity. And a blessing for Pikapals that we haven't really mentioned is that the item that's going to be hardest for him to find is the one that is required for 2 crystal dungeons, not one that's required for a pendant dungeon. So he's not going to be going around GT looking for the mushroom for the Cane of Samaria. He's going to have to find it before he can get there, which is a little bit of a benefit.
And Ice is, in fact, the last dungeon he can do, though he will unfortunately be full clearing it.
I assume, unless he does remember chess game and has just been purposely choosing not to do it, he is probably going to go to escape and get that ether medallion before getting the mushroom. I was just thinking very clean Helmasaur fight, and then he kind of took that hit there at the end, but still made it happen pretty quickly.
And that is his 3rd pendant.
He'll go grab his boots, clear out Skull Woods, and Pikapal's dungeon advantage is dwindling by the moment.
And GFE also has the luxury of being able to do Desert and Mire at the same time when he goes back to finish that.
Yep, so here we go. He's going to go to the light world. He's going to walk up, pull the pedestal, get his boots, and then mirror back over to Skull Woods, clear that, and then likely flute to 6 to take care of that Mire Desert combo you just mentioned.
Now, as Pikapals does his full clear of Ice, it's worth noting that there are 3 hints in Ice, so it's one of the most hint-rich spots in the game, but we've now seen 2 of them, and they have both been completely useless.
Yeah, what Pikapals could really use on that 3rd hint is one saying something like, a unique item is at the chess game, which will make him think, wait, what was at the chess game? I don't know what was at the chess game. There's the boots for GFE. Now, he actually has every item needed to complete the game, not just know where it is. And we find out again that some cache is in the western ring of Swamp, as if we didn't already know that.
Because that's another little bit of a glitch with the hint system, that some hints are triggered on location and some hints are triggered on item, and so it's possible to get the same hint twice if you get it once triggered by the location and once triggered by the...
And not so much a glitch as, you know, working as intended, just the intended system didn't really account for that particular possibility. We'll see if Pikapals comes out of Ice with anything of interest here. There's still a couple things unaccounted for that could be nice, like maybe a cape or a cape. There we go. Very good Skullwoods. Very good Mothula fight. Leaves Skullwoods down for GFE. He now has Desert, Mire, and Go Mode Swamp and Ice left, which is not a bad group of things to have remaining.
And even if it's not the God Mire, he knows where the big key is, so he doesn't have to waste time hunting around.
Yep, and he's going to prove me a liar and go to Ice Palace before the Mire Desert combo.
And for the first time in a long time, both runners are in the same dungeon.
It has been a while. Also, I think I just realized what Desert Palace is actually going to be the last dungeon that GFE goes to. Because that way there, when he's done with it, he can just save and quit directly back to Ganon's Tower.
Yes, that's one advantage of doing Aga Tower a bit early, that just as in normal mode, once you've beaten Aga, you can save and quit in the Dark World to the Pyramid. In Inverted, once you've beaten Aga 1, you can save and quit in the Light World to Hyrule.
Yeah, definitely a far more valuable save and quit spot in Inverted than normal modes, because save and quitting to the Pyramid has like 3 uses ever.
Oh, and with chat mentioning again how close the top 3 are in Group H, it's worth noting that part of why they're so close is that the top 3 runners have basically had a circular firing squad on each other. That GFE took 2 of 3 from Bonta, Bonta took 2 of 3 from Pikapals, Pikapals took the first 2 against GFE, and barring something strange happening here, GFE will probably win this one, so it'll be 2 of 3 that way. So they've all canceled each other out.
Yeah, definitely up there in terms of the quote-unquote death groups of the group stage, because, like I mentioned kind of near the beginning, there are some groups that the top 2 are already decided with several races left to play, and then there are a few where it's just totally up in the air till the very last minute, and this appears to be headed that direction. Pikapals had a clean Cold Stare fight, is now grabbing the crystal, going out of the dungeon, and is out of dungeons he is able to clear. GFE is getting close to Cold Stare, just needs to be a little bit careful, he's only got 5 hearts left.
So now where do we think Pikapals will go? I guess he hasn't checked Waterfall Ferry yet in Zora.
Yeah, but I guess I'll mirror over and check Catfish as well, since he's right here. GFE using Bombos for Cold Stare Shell. It's a little bit slower, but I'll leave him fire rod shots for once Cold Stare breaks out of the corner, which he usually does. There it goes. And now a nice quick finish. So 3 dungeons remain for GFE. Desert Palace, Misery Mire, and Swamp. Go moding all 3, knowing where the big key is in 2 of them, and not needing the big key for the 3rd. These will go by pretty quickly.
Is Pika going to Shovel location now, since he got the Shovel in Waterfall Ferry?
It seems
or no, he hasn't done Hyrule Castle yet.
Okay, he's gonna grab the big bomb, bring that up to Hyrule Castle, mirror over and check it, and then probably check the castle, which will get him his Ether Medallion, which will probably cause him to dip into Misery Mire. Yeah, our restreamer, Mr. Broadstone in chat, pointing out that, yep, the dungeon advantage of Pikapals is gone. He has Misery Mire, T-Rock, and Aghanim's Tower to clear, and GFE has Desert, Mire, and Swamp, so they are both at 3 dungeons remaining at this point.
Well, half magic from the pyramid is nice to have, but at this point in the game it doesn't do too much. Actually, GFE is the one who could really use it because he's going to be doing Silverless Ganon, so he's going to need to light the torches quite a bit.
Yeah, I was going to say, the early go mode for GFE has prevented him from getting 2 very nice-to-have items in the Silver Arrows and Half Magic. Pikapals, recognizing that the hookshot could have been gotten very early, rushes back up to Hookshot Cave to see if maybe the items he needs are in here. Well, GFE is going to grab this small key with the hookshot and then head straight to Argus. He's not going to come back upstairs for the big chest. He's not going to check pretty much anything except maybe the waterfall chest on the way down. He might check for silvers, but he's going to be blown right through this.
Pika is gonna do Spike Cave, so we'll see what's in here.
Enough health, not have to waste any magic on it. Wow. Have you ever been so concerned about a single dollar that you built an elaborate room full of a spike floor just to keep it safe?
Hey, I'm sure that was like, you know, a commemorative edition green rupee. Rare collector's item outside of Hyrule, but inside of Hyrule it just gets spent as a single.
That could be, you know, maybe something for like the king's birthday or something like that, you know, just a little celebratory thing. So Pikapal's heading in the direction of Kakariko and then turning around because he meant to check the shovel on his way over. Will he remember? Also, very nice phase 2 Argus by GFE there.
Yeah, without silvers or the butter sword, that's the best phase 2 Argus you can do. 2 quick fire rod shots and a spin attack with bait.
I thought he was gonna do it.
How many times can Pika walk right by where the item he needs is without getting it?
Yeah, it hurts to watch this, having done this exact same thing with this exact same location in Inverted before, where you just assume you got that when you went to Village of Outcasts and don't remember, hey, I didn't have 30 rupees when I was there. GFE now entering into his second to last crystal dungeon. He needs to go to the left side to get the big key, which means he needs to make a stop to grab a small key on the right side first. King's Tomb and Bonk Rock's just full of pieces of heart, so not really all that much value.
Though, hey, considering Pikapals didn't actually find the blue mail, him getting those extra hearts is a bit more useful on the margin. Still not essential by any means.
True, and Pikapals walking up this way, he just did Zora and the waterfall, so I guess he's going to Catfish now.
Speaking of green mail, assuming you wind up in that three-way tiebreaker and advance from it, what are your thoughts on expert mode availability in brackets?
I think the one seed I did in the tournament, I ended up on a hard mode seed with just 7 hearts and green mail to finish the seed, so it can't be much worse than that. It will be an interesting addition, though, to see how many people are confident enough to actively choose that versus how often it comes up in just bot decision-making. So hey, Pikapals remembered the thing. He got his mushroom. Now he just still needs to find the Ether Medallion, which by the time he finds it, GFE will be done with Mire into Desert, for sure.
And GFE is now not even bothering with hints.
Yep, he's got everything he wants. Pikapal is going to turn in this mushroom immediately, and I would presume heading up to Turtle Rock afterwards to go check the remaining chests in there. I doubt he's going to prioritize escape over that.
Well, without the cane, there aren't that many remaining chests you can check in Turtle Rock. Oh! Sorry, I totally missed that. Oh, he was actually getting the red cane.
Yeah, he found that mushroom in chess game, remembered the hint, and just immediately went there.
But now he's about to realize that, oh yeah, he doesn't have ether.
It's like, wait, what? No!
And now he has to remember to pay Uncle a visit.
And as expected, here we go to finish up T-Rock, which will be kind of, I hate to say it, but probably the nail in the coffin. If he had gone straight for Uncle, it was gonna be close enough, but with Aga Tower and still having to find Ether and clear Mire, it's just gonna be kind of too long of a distance to reasonably make up.
GFT firing a whole boatload of arrows into the giant eyeball, but that's enough to get Viddy.
Yep, 8 arrows, and he is a little bit low on arrows. He only has 8. He's going to have to be a little bit careful going forward. Quick flute back to 6, lift up the rock, head to Light World, and GFE will be entering into his final crystal dungeon.
Oh, so at least Pika's beating TR first rather than searching it first. So there's some hope that he might not do a full search of the rest of the dungeon.
Well, he's cleared out most of it already, so what he'll probably do is kill Trinex and then walk back in the front door and check that main hub room and the 3 chests off of that. It'll be the quickest way you can do it that way. Jiffy grabs his big key, dashes down to the left side door as Trinex dies on Pikapal's side.
Now, as GFE heads into the back of Desert Palace, this is probably going to be reasonably quick. So, I might as well talk about this little game we like to play that's coming up in a few minutes. After GFE finishes here, he will be heading to Ganon's Tower. There are 22 chests in the basement of Ganon's Tower. Any one of them can hold the big key. Once GFE... I think I'll start when he gets to the Landmo fight, just because he can immediately quit afterwards and then be at the entrance to GT. But get your guesses in chat, 1 through 22, because this is the ALTTP Randomizer channel. We don't have a leaderboard, but the flip side, anyone can play. So feel free to guess once I start the game.
People jump the gun with those guesses, but we are at the fight. We won't have long to go here. So what's your guess, since we're tight on time? Where do you think it's going to be?
I normally do 10, but someone claimed 10 almost immediately when I started the game, so I went with 15. What about you?
Hey, the cape. I'm gonna go with number 3. It's gonna be on the torch. It's gonna be nice and friendly. I feel a little bit bad for that, Aghanim fight, so I'm gonna try to give a little bit of commentator's blessing this time around.
And here we are in, so I am stopping the game.
Small key and $300 in chests 1 and 2.
So he's actually going right, so I guess 3 will be in Compass Room.
So, you see, and Pikapals is taking care of Aghanim while he's up here, which is probably good for him, because he's probably going to, once he spawns at the castle, just take care of the stuff there. But with GFE already in Ganon's Tower, it's gonna take a pretty massive mistake on his end for Pikapals to catch up.
Hey, there was something in chest 3, something very important.
Definitely a unique item. Said 3 through 6 were not the big key, so we're going to be going on over to the left here for number 7 on the torch.
Just the map.
Making use of that magic pot instead of bonking over that gap, as most everyone usually does, is not a bad choice when you're as low on magic as he was.
And there's the big key. What was that? 10. So if someone else hadn't taken my guess...
This is when you gotta challenge him to a random race for who gets to hold on to the 10.
So, congratulations, Shinyakusa. You scored 15 points. We actually, on the ALTTP Randomizer channels, have a scoring system where the number of points you get depends on how many people actually enter the contest. So if you were going against more people, you get more points.
pretty neat addition, and Pikapals settling in for the long haul against Aghanim here. 9 blue balls coming his way. GFE likely gonna hop over to the safety room, yes, to go get a couple of fairies, because his health is very, very much in danger mode. There goes phase 2 of 3 of all blue balls. Pikapals will deal with 3 more, and then a nice clean, 4th cycle to wrap it up. Swings at the wall and pulls on the wall in frustration at this point.
And GFE is through the gauntlet.
Only took a heart and a half of damage going through there, which ain't bad at all.
However, he did use up most of his magic in the process, so he was forced to do spin attacks on Lanmo.
Yep, he's got enough for his couple of cane shots here for the Wizrobe rooms, and Pikapals finished Aghanim, and then immediately mirrored and flew back to the mountain instead of checking the castle. That magic drop was a decent plus for him, because now as long as he uses the torch, there should be enough magic in this room to not have to blow his blue potion for getting these torches lit.
And then he can get the full fill up in the next room.
And the sprite despawn window has already passed, so you can freely walk up the stairs, and here we are to the upper part of Aga Tower. Pikapals was going back for the big chest of TR, the only thing he hadn't checked, and gets a heart piece for his troubles.
GFE not even bothering trying to see if the silvers are in any of these last chests.
Yeah, now that he's got tempered, it's more time than it's worth a lot of times. Very quick Moldorm 2 kill, almost fell off at one point, but held on to it, and finds 300 rupees in the final chest of the game.
Moldorm was clearly hoarding quite a lot of money from previous travelers he had trolled.
Seems accurate, and the Pikapals heading up here to the light world as GFE... Oh no, heading through the dark world as GFE goes into his Aga 2 fight. Aghanim not done with the blue balls yet.
Very nice triple there.
And that was great. Aga finally stopped firing the blue balls, and GFE seized the moment. And now it's time to jump out the castle window and be at the Ganon fight. Hooray! Pika going back through Skull Woods. Does he think there's another item here in the chest below the bridge? Has he completely forgotten the escape? So Ganon fight here will be a pretty straightforward one. 12 hits during Phase 1, 12 hits during Phase 2, 4 hits for Phase 3, and then 12 spin attacks during the teleportation of Phase 4 to wrap up the fight. Health is getting low, but he does have another blue potion in the waiting if necessary. Pikapals, meanwhile, is now just sitting on the menu, uncertain where to go. I didn't expect Hyrule Castle to be the thing that tripped him up. I was expecting it to be the chess game, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's not a one-off either. He never checked the tunnel or the front of escape. GFE gets the torch glitch, which will make life a lot easier for him as he faces Ganon with the spin attacks here.
He's taking a risk by not using his blue potion ahead of time. Comment in chat, I want to give a shout out to Pikapal's veto on this seed was Uncle Assured. And if Uncle was assured to have a sword, he almost certainly would have gone to Uncle and gotten that Ether Medallion. So it's almost like, you know, it's not that his veto cost him anything, it's just kind of ironic that the thing he vetoed would have forced him to go get the thing he's missing. So shoutouts to GFE for this very clean fight on 1.5 hearts, refusing to use that blue potion in case he needs the magic later. But
there it is.
Down.
So get your GGs in chat once GFE crosses this bridge.
Meanwhile, Pikapal's heading to the light world, probably realized the castle and was heading that way as GFE finished.
Do you have his official time? I actually don't. Sounds like we have GFE joining us in here, though.
Hey, guys.
Hey, GG.
Hey, thanks, man. That felt really good.
Yeah, you finally managed to get one even on Pikapals and tie things up.
Somebody earlier in the Discord said that I had to complete the symmetry.
That was me.
Oh, that was you. Well, there you go.
Yeah, no, I just wanted that symmetry out of, you know, I actually called it a circular firing squad earlier that you and Bonta and Pika had between you.
Oh, I can't believe that I'm in this position now. If both me and Pika win our last match, we'll be meeting again.
Yeah, and depending what happens to Bonta, it could be the three of you meeting.
I know he's got a race going on tonight. Also, just real quick, I want to throw out the final time for GFE was 1:47:40. So a very solid time for inverted all dungeons. In fact, a fantastic time for that combo.
Yeah, and not to mention boots on ped.
So yeah, why don't you take us through that seed a bit, with the boots on ped and everything.
Well, the early game felt really slow, and the money just was hard to come by. After World Access, knowing there was a unique woods first, probably guessed, didn't realize I'd gotten the book room pod until I got to like Sanctuary or something.
Yeah, that's one of the things about finding items in dark rooms. Not all of them show up immediately.
Yeah, I'm very glad I went back to check that. He told me what I was going to do as soon as I could clear. That was probably the circle I've ever made in the light world also. That was kind of ridiculous.
Which circle are you referring to?
My entire route after going to the light world the first time, I pretty much went and cleared literally everything, including that fake flipper, which paid off for the second match in a row for me.
Yeah, that was really nice because Logic wanted you to have to take 2 trips up Death Mountain, and you managed to do the whole thing in one.
Yeah, I knew it saved me a climb. I just went up Death Mountain once in this whole seed.
Yeah, you did. You got everything there except for the silver arrows. Did you find out afterwards from Pika where the silvers were?
Oh, I didn't even pay attention to Ganon. Where were those?
Ether tablet.
Oh, I was like, I'm not going to spend the time on that.
Yeah,
So, you know...
I was thinking you were doing, like, every check up there. You even did, like, Spiral Cave and went through Hookshot Cave.
Spiral Cave. Cave was a complete accident. I dropped down the wrong drop for T-Rock.
Yeah, we were a bit thrown off by that for a moment.
But Hookshot Cave was on purpose. I mean, I still wanted a third sword, and luckily Saha gave me that.
But yeah, you did a great job with Ganon Silverless, so it didn't matter too much in the end.
Yeah, it was a little messy, because and I was afraid Pika probably was right on my tail. I didn't know that bad situations he turned out with.
Yeah, at the time you got go mode, he had a sizable dungeon lead on you. At one point you had 1 dungeon done while he had, I believe it was 6 or 7 of the 10 dungeons done. And then eventually, you know, because you were in go mode and he was still trying to find both Ether and the Mushroom, that dungeon advantage just kind of quickly slipped away as you were go moding through everything.
Yeah, I figured he might have been ahead in dungeons because I was clearing all the overworld everywhere.
So we now have official word that Pika did in fact forfeit. We're seeing if we can get him in chat here. And it also looks like even as Pika was doing parts of Escape, he still never did check Uncle and get that Ether Medallion.
Then Pikapals is in the waiting room. We'll go ahead and bring him down here. And we are joined by Pikapals. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing okay.
Hey, GG, man. Sorry it went like that.
Yeah, GG. Someday I'll learn how to stop being dumb.
I'm not gonna lie, I was really taken off guard by the fact that the thing that ended up kind of being the final nail in the coffin was ether, not the mushroom.
Yeah, I mean, I think the mushroom was already enough of a nail in the coffin, but ether did not help.
Yeah, you had built up enough of a dungeon lead while GFE was doing all the overworld and everything he did, where if you had gotten the mushroom and ether kind of back to back early enough, you might have been able to hope for like a Ganon death or something to make it close, but once that ether medallion was so lost, it kind of just added to the hurt.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, do you just not like Uncle? Because we noticed you also vetoed Uncle Assured Sword.
No, Uncle's great. It's just that I usually do Uncle first in every other type of seed, so doing him at an hour in isn't exactly on my mind.
Yeah, I was hoping when you did the Aghanim play, you would drop down and check, or you would landing at the castle would make you think, oh, I haven't done this yet, and you would go check it, but then kind of immediately fluted back to Death Mountain. It's just like, oh, no, that didn't happen.
Yeah, I was too busy thinking, oh right, I need to go do the big chest of Turtle Rock.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but you didn't check the pedestal before you pulled it, right?
Nope. I just figured I had everything. I'll just lose the time and get whatever useless items on there.
Except for once it was actually useful.
Yeah, it's weird how that worked out. It was so nice being able to run suddenly.
Oh yeah, and question to both of you, what were your thoughts on Super Bunny Cave there? Because I've never seen one that rich.
Yeah, that felt pretty good. At that point, I knew I was in go mode because I already knew where Flippers and Lamp and Boots were. So that felt awesome.
Yeah, it was a pretty nice cave. It kind of changed up the routing a bit because I wasn't expecting, oh, I suddenly have access to Death Mountain.
Yeah, and access to the 2 remaining pendant dungeons.
Yep.
I guess that felt different for you because I had hookshot at that point, so I was already doing the Light World checks.
Yeah, because it was just like, oh, I guess I'll go do Eastern and Pod now. Oh, wait, I guess I'm doing Death Mountain.
I will say that in my past probably 50 races, I had not had PED, and then the last 3 races I've done, I've had a pedestal bow and PED boots.
That's just cruel.
Well, not as cruel as what Mentos Man was thinking earlier of if Desert hadn't been boots locked, Bo could have been in GT.
Yeah, that was a relief actually when I saw boots on PED. That told me that there was nothing in GT for sure. After I saw Desert.
Yeah, if only we could have had Bo in GT. We need more Bo behind our Ice Armos seeds.
Bring out those Kane O'Brien strats.
Just take out a boomerang. It's fast, I swear.
So very fast.
And for anyone in chat who's not aware, Armos is the only boss that can be killed with the boomerang, but it takes 48 hits per night.
So with this matchup going the way it did, GFE, Pikapals, you two are tied at 9 and 5, both with 1 race remaining in the group stage. Banta is currently in the middle of a race, could be joining you at 9 and 5, depending on how it goes. either way, there's a chance of a 2 to 3-way tiebreaker for the 1 to 2 spots that'll be available in Group H. So, do either of you have your final match scheduled? And either way, how you feel going into it?
Yeah, mine's on Monday against T-Stew. A little nervous. I lost my first one to him and won the second, so we'll just wait and see how it goes. Maybe Bonta will just be nice and lose 2 matches, and then me and Pika won't have to worry about a tiebreaker.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, my last match is on Sunday against Cyrac, and hilariously enough, somehow the bot rolled exactly the same settings as the race that I chose, so I'm hopeful about that one.
Look at that. The bot's actually friendly to you.
I know. It's
I
just
think Zyrac
unfortunate for
failed on the
Zyrac.
veto. Should have vetoed Key Sanity. I always veto Key Sanity.
But Key Sanity's fun.
No, I'm not bad at it, but I just don't like it.
Speaking of bots, do either of you happen to know how settings would be chosen for a tiebreaker if you wind up having to play a tiebreaker?
I'm not sure if it's purely random or how the vetoes will work there. I don't remember.
Yeah, I've got no idea.
Yeah, it's looking entirely likely between your group and Mentos Man's group we could be seeing some really interesting tiebreakers, and no one's really talked much yet about how the settings for them would be determined.
Yeah,
But I'm sure we'll learn soon enough.
yeah, with 15 games per person, usually you wouldn't expect too many tiebreakers to pop up.
Yet here we are with like 4 groups near the end of groups that are in the potential for tiebreakers. Who decides?
Oh, Iceman, our tracker, is saying that every racer in the tiebreaker gets 1 veto, and other than that, it's picked randomly. Speaking of which, thank you to Iceman for such a good job tracking, and in fact picking up on things like the runners picking up the book in the dark before either of the comms or the runners were aware that they had picked up the book in the dark.
Yeah, I figured Iceman had that before I did. I was just glad I found out when I did.
Yeah, I noticed it, but I noticed it when I realized that I didn't pick up the big key in the dark, so I had to have picked up something.
Yeah, that's what it was. I noticed I didn't have big keys, so I was just checking that to see if I could open the chest or not, and then I just left without thinking about it.
I just noticed I had one more item that I remembered having at the time.
Well, I'll take this time to thank both of you for the commentary, Mentos and Drossi. Also, thanks to Iceman for that tracking, and to looks like he's our restreamer. So thanks, guys. I look forward to watching it back.
And thank you guys, GG to you both. Please give both of our runners a follow here. It's sure worth seeing what they do for the rest of the tournament, especially since we could easily be seeing them playing each other again within a week to determine brackets. And also, just for a general tournament update, we're pretty much done for the night because we don't have too many races being restreamed right now. Looks there are gonna be a few races tomorrow. Actually, quite a lot of races tomorrow. I'm just trying to figure out which ones are getting restreamed. At a minimum, the next race that's being restreamed is on the main ALTTP Randomizer channel at 12:30 Eastern tomorrow afternoon. between Asazas and Akmum. Sorry, having trouble reading this.
Just ACMLM on that one.
Okay.
I do want to throw in a little note there as an interjection that Asazas and Prior 57 are both in a tie at 9-4. Oh no, Prior actually appears to have lost his first race against ACMLM. I was going to say they both had 2 races against him, one of which for Prior was going on currently. So if Asazas can take both races off ACMLM, he gets himself into the brackets. If he loses one of the races, then he continues on a trek where we could see another tiebreaker over in Group I between Asazas and Prior.
Oh, and apparently that ACMLM Prior race is still going on ALTTP Randomizer 3, so if you want to catch the tail end of it, you can check it out now. And otherwise, yeah, the weekend's pretty full, and check speedgaming.org/ALTTPR to see which matches we're able to get restreamed, because there are a lot more matches coming up that have pretty big implications for brackets. And with that, I guess it's time to say good night. Thanks again to Iceman for the tracking. Thanks to Mentos Man. It's been great working with you.
Right back at you for that. And I'll throw in the thank you to Mr. Broadstone for doing the restreaming. And of course to GFE and Pikapals for putting on quite a nice show tonight.
And have a great night, everyone.